Oh yeah, a little backwards audio, a little legends. Yeah, come on. Bourbon whiskey, baby. That is fabulous. Oh my God, I'll be honest with you. I love the taste of this. It is the Yeah Come On show 160. I'm Southside Steve, your host. That is Brett Barney, your co-host, and our co-host is missing in action. But like everybody, he's hoping to get paid for all
Oh
the
man.
shows. Even though he's been missing in action, he's got another gig. We respect it, but he couldn't join us. But you know what? That's his loss, our gain, because this is where it started. Damn it! One Southside Steve and one Brett Barney.
I shouldn't have launched my water across the rim. I just did the thing where like you dent in the top, and now I'm
Oh
trying to get it pulled out. There we go. Shouldn't do this over my computer either.
no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't. Let's go ahead and mention one sponsor right off the top because this seems to be my main gig right now. Hold it up if you got it, little legend. Yeah, come on, bourbon whiskey. I drank it and I can talk right after. You know why? Because it's smooth and smoky. I feel like I've just been put through a forest fire.
It is good.
Um,
I feel weird though about this. I have not tried to mix it yet outside of the old fashioned at the distillery.
yes. And what I want to do, a lot of people are asking me what my top recipe is. One other thing they did at the distillery and coming at Legends is they mixed it with pumpkin. They did a pumpkin spice thing, which was fantastic. And I was like, well, man, this is pretty damn good. But now I'm like, all right, and that was in October, November. But the old fashioned is what everybody likes. I just need to find out what the perfect recipe for an old fashioned is. Not something too hard. Not everybody has a cherry or an orange at their disposal, but or a special cinnamon mix or something, But we got to come up with something easy that people can find
I
and make
may or
just
may not be married to a bartender that always does an old fashioned bar at my family's Christmas and hooks everyone up. So I might be able to present you some recipes. I
let me
like
tell you.
the tobacco, what is it, notes one. That one's really good.
Oh, see, and that's the thing. You, Brett, have an assignment. You must drink 5 different old fashions made by her until you know the best one, and then give me the recipe, and I will test it to see if it's Southside approved.
I'll
But that
drink
sounds
10.
great.
I'll drink 10 and present you my top 3. So you get 3, I'll get 10.
See, this is what I love. This is somebody that gives until it hurts, and gives until you're an a-hole, because we all know once you get way drunk, you're an a-hole. And I love that. And so does your wife. But she jumps on you midway through for sex. She likes you sociably in the beginning, but towards the end, she'd soon kick you out of the car, and that's okay. We'll call that living with Brett.
Hey, it's tuck and roll, baby. Tuck and roll. I
It's
got it.
real life. It's real life, damn it. We're talking real life on show 160. And one thing that we want to get into on the Yeah Come On podcast today, this is fabulous. This is a guy that Brett found and on social media, and he ran it by me, and I'm like, good Lord, it's a brother from another mother. And I can't wait to find out what I have in common with him other than the obvious. And this is a show that it makes me feel, how do I put this? Not alone in this world. I feel like there's a kinship and another dude that likes young girls and wants to marry somebody half their age. Half their age.
And
Or
the name
almost.
thing, the whole name thing is just seals the deal.
Both chicks named Amanda. There is no doubt that Amandas go for older men, more mature men. They're bored. They're bored with their college boyfriends. Kick to the curb. But we will get into it now. Southside Steve with Ace. Neither one are our birth names. I am Steve Rickman, but when you're from the South Side in Atlanta, you talk about it. And I'm with David Cannon, who is Ace. And, I don't know where Ace is. It your middle name, or did somebody just call you that?
Yeah, this is how big life decisions are made. I was working at a radio. I got a job at a radio station in college, and my real name is, you said David, and the guy said, "Do you have a nickname? We already have a guy named David that works here." And I said, "Not really." My middle school basketball coach called me Ace after Ace Cannon, the saxophone player. He goes, "We're going with that." I was like, "Okay."
Fine.
How did I know when I was 19 I had that for the rest of my life?
See, and with me, it sucked. I got it at 27. I was doing college radio. I'd made a life change, been in business and sales gone to college, worked for an airline, and I'm like, you know what? I just want to do something different. And I was looking at stand up as a career. So I'm like, well, here I am at Georgia State University. Why don't I get on the radio station so I get used to a microphone? And I'm doing radio, and then I'm in advertising and bartending, trying to make a living, playing amateur soccer at the same time. And all of a sudden I get a client, and I go up to 96 Rock, which was a heritage rock station here in Atlanta.
Yep.
And my voice guy doesn't show. I cut it, and the guy's like, "You're pretty good at radio, man. Have you ever thought about it as a career?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm on Georgia State 88.5, which was a 100,000 watt voice,
Wow.
huge,
Very impressive. Yeah.
only 3 of them in the country." And he goes, "Turn in your tapes." Next thing you know, I'm doing weekends for the radio station I grew up listening to. And the same thing, I'm sitting there telling a story about my cousins teasing me about living on the South Side and calling me Southside Steve. And he goes on the air with it, and it's stuck. And I'm like,
There you go.
damn.
That's a big life decisions. I feel bad though. You've already named 3 things, 3 skill sets I don't have. Soccer, bartending, and sales. So
Yeah,
this is all I've ever done.
see, and that's crazy for me. Yeah, I fell into it. And when you do radio for a living, you meet those guys that did radio right out of high school, or that's all they've ever done. And then me, I've done construction, I've done this, and I got into it late. So I appreciate the ease and how well we're paid for how little we do. It can be demanding, but it's cool to talk to a radio guy. You and I are similar now. We did not start off similar. You got married, you had children, and I was the male horror of Atlanta, thanks to my 18-year-old girlfriend, who I deeply was in love with, who I chased down, pretty school in the high school, chased her down, and finally got with her. And we were together for 2 years, and she cheated on me with a guy 7 years my elder, a steakhouse manager, and the rest was history. And I was like, heartbroken. I am no longer having relationships. Everybody's having sex with me, and nobody's getting love. No, it was always, I like you. No love. I never said love to get in the bed with somebody. And I only loved 2 girls in my life, the first one and the last one, and everything in between was fun, but they ran up a number on me, and I had 419. My wife was 419. We had a song about it. That song was played at our wedding, and it was a horrible morning show song for a morning show that was way too much like Opie and Anthony, the regular guys. And we did horrible things. And I did horrible things, the whole sex on the show, or, this kind of stuff. Ron Jeremy comes in and hits me with his penis. And you're like, okay, this is nuts. And it was the likes of that Atlanta's never seen. And then I look at you, because I've read about you. You're now all over social media, but you started off as a normal guy. So can you take me through?
I don't know about that. Yeah.
But take me through radio, your wife, and your 2 kids, the first half of your life.
Okay. So I got started in radio in college. It was something I always wanted to do. I went to college. I'm a broadcast journalism major from LSU. My degree is in broadcast journalism. Really always knew I wanted to be in radio, but I did the TV thing some too, because that's kind of it was more professional, but just, something about the music and radio, the immediacy, the intimacy. And I got a job working for the radio station I grew up listening to right out of college. It was my first full-time job. I graduated on a Thursday. I went to work on a Saturday night. I started doing overnights, midnight to 6. 6 months later, I was the night guy, and they made me the promotions director, and worked our way up. And that's where TJ and I met, and we became a morning show in 93, because the radio station went into bankruptcy, and all the guys that had families quit because they were cutting everybody's pay, and they literally couldn't cut our pay anymore. And so we told them, we either get to be the morning show or we're going to leave. And so I became the program director. TJ was the music director and the assistant PD. And we did the morning show and the afternoon show. We alternated. That's how bad. They said, well, if you're going to do that, one of you's got to come back in the afternoon. We're like, fine, we'll figure that out. So we were doing 2 shows a day and everything else in between just to be the morning show. And made our way to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and then Huntsville, Alabama for 2 incredible years. And we were sitting at home in Birmingham being paid to not be on the radio. Right. Sitting out a non-compete, and got a call to come to Charlotte. And we've been here. April will be 25 years that we've been based out of Charlotte, syndicated for about 20 of those years, something like that. 19,
well, let me hold you right. Let me hold you right there. First off, I just want to say, before we get into the family, it's tough to have a family in radio when you start out. I saw people with families, but they were more established because you don't get paid. The
Yeah.
hours are nuts. And you do things and say things on the radio, unless you have a very confident woman at home, she's going to be upset. And then you also have something that most radio guys don't, a degree. I give you that. A
Yeah. Thank you.
degree. Well done, sir.
But-
My wife was born the year I should have graduated college. Unlike yourself, you did it. And my boy, Brett Barney, who's in the picture, also graduated from Alabama. So anybody in this industry with a degree, I just want to say, well done.
Well, thank you. But as TJ likes to point out, he's like, I dropped out after a year of college and we make exactly the same money. So what good is that degree doing me? I don't really know.
I don't know, but there's something about it. I wanted the paper, damn it, and I didn't get it. It's all about finishing what you started. I'm an Eagle Scout. I got that going for me. But
that's very impressive to be an Eagle Scout. I really am impressed by that. More so than a degree from Alabama, to be honest with you.
Thank you. And I agree with you 100%. So now we've got we know how you got into your career, which is brilliant and hardworking, and those hours unbelievable. And we're both starting the same time, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
I was in college when you started getting paid, but I started getting paid in '94 to do weekends. So I'm right behind you. But where did the wife come in?
I had known my first wife, met her in college. We dated for a while, a couple years went by. We dated for a while, a couple years went by, and then we got married in 1995. So we literally got married a month after we moved to Huntsville, Alabama. So while she was planning the wedding, I had moved to Huntsville to start our career there. And, was, how radio was at the time and still is. I got a day off on a Friday to drive home. We got married on a Saturday. It was Monday. We were planning to drive back to Huntsville, and they were saying, we're going to announce the OJ verdict tomorrow.
Oh.
So we had to wait to see how the OJ verdict turned out. Couldn't be on the road for that. And then I got home on Wednesday and was back at work on Thursday. I had 4 days off that was my entire wedding, but it was great. And we started in Huntsville, moved to Charlotte, built a life. Didn't have any kids until 99 when we had just moved to Charlotte, and we were able to buy a house, and had one in 99 and one in 2002. And then went through a lot of stuff there and eventually separated and got divorced. And it wasn't official until 2017, but we had been separated and all doing paperwork for a couple of years. So it was about a 2-year process that was going on and everything. So it was, we were legally separated in 2016, and finally the divorce was final in 2017.
My question to you, because with me, it was like, I dated one of the housewives of Atlanta. I had to go out with a, Falcon cheerleader. I had to date somebody in the media. There were challenges issued to me that I had to pull off, what's going on. We had like little Southside Steve TV, which, was something we did on the radio, and people dug it, and people would follow me with a camera and see all of this firsthand. So I'm wondering, your partner, because I was with Larry Eric of the regular guys, and then I went on to Bailey and Southside. But I'm wondering if your partner, the second you became single, did he try to push you to start dating and talk about it on the air?
No, because the way it worked out was for a long time, I didn't tell anybody. Nobody really knew. I mean, he knew, TJ knew. But I finally one day had to tell everybody on the show, look, if you need me for anything, do not call my house. It's still a house. I don't live there. And we kept it pretty low key because I had my daughter and TJ's daughter were in the same grade, and my son and TJ's son were in the same grade.
Oh, man.
And so we all lived relatively the same neighborhood, kind of big development, all that kind of stuff. And so we kept it pretty quiet. Some people figured out. Now I was living in a 1-bedroom apartment for a couple of years and all that kind of stuff, and for about a year or so. Then I branched out when I realized, hey, this is not going to work out. I got a 2-bedroom that had a little dining room in it, and I thought I was just, fantastic at that point. And so nobody really knew for a long time. And then we announced it on the radio when it was official in February. But until that point, nobody even knew that on the radio that I was divorced or anything, or on social media or anything like that. We kept it very quiet, trying to be respectful for my now ex-wife and my kids and all that kind of stuff, to not make too big a deal out of it. But once it was done, we just, it wasn't long after that I met my now wife, just strictly kind of by chance. So it wasn't as if there was a long time. All of that activity of mine was kind of done on the low key after all the legal things were done. Nobody really knew what was going on. But then, you know, when I met my now wife, we talked about that a lot on the radio.
Yeah, I assume you did, and the same here. Different girls, you know, and I was diagnosed by one of our guys on the show was pretty brilliant. Eric Von Hessler on the regular guys, and he goes, "You know what it is? You're addicted to," and he was right. I was
Steve, your mic's cutting out. You're addicted to, and then reset, but let's get your mic going.
okay. How are we doing now? Let me know when I'm back.
You're back. Hang on. Talk. Keep going now. Thumbs down right now.
Hello.
There you are.
There you are.
Hang on. Now you're out. I don't know what you're fiddling with. Nothing. 0. Nothing.
One second. How
There.
are we doing?
Now you're back.
There you are.
Okay, cool. So
You're-
addicted to strange.
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, and come back with that.
3, 2, 1. The diagnosis was I was addicted to strange. And I said, you know what? You may be right, but I know I'm the type person. I know my loyalty the way I was to the first girl. If I meet the right person, I'm done. I can turn it off in a heartbeat. And we always had, you know, attractive women coming in. People knew to bring attractive women in because they knew that was going to be my vehicle to talk about them. So clients would literally walk in hotties knowing, all right, what's Southside going to say? Larry's going to be nasty. Eric's going to be intellectual. And, you know, we all had our job. And my wife to be comes in. She's wearing stiletto heels. I have a foot fetish, and she has a great arch. And I just looked at her foot, and she's standing there with the long hair. And I put my finger in her shoe, and I went, man, it's like a fleshy tunnel for a Hot Wheels car. And she jumped, goes home that night and says, Mom, some older, creepy guy with a ponytail put his finger in my shoe. And that's what she said. After 2 years of coming on the radio, me doing what I do, unbeknownst to me, she's a graduate of Auburn University. And she went to Auburn. She has the Auburn boyfriend of 6 years. Everybody thinks they're going to get married. And I owned a bar called Southside Steve's, and they come down to my bar. And that night, she's drunk. I'm walking her to her car to get in the back seat of somebody else. She's riding with somebody, and I start getting text messages from her. And she's like, well, do you want to keep drinking? I'm like, everything's closed. And she's like, well, you could come to my apartment. She gives me the address to her apartment in Buckhead in Atlanta. She's, of course, in a nice high rise. I show up. We talk for 3 hours because she's a client and I have respect for her, but I'm curious. I'm on one side of her bar. She's on the other. She comes around. We start kissing, and the rest is history. She has to break up with her boyfriend, who she crushes of 6 years. I'm just kind of dating a couple of girls, and I'm like, hey, it's over. And we start, and my father-in-law is 5 years older than me. My mother-in-law, it was so cool. They're very intellectual, very respected. I'm an above ground pool. They're an in-ground pool with country club. I didn't even know what the word country club was. And here we are with 22 years difference. And I am just bad guy, but she was so confident. She rolled with it. My father-in-law played our 419 song off the radio station where she was 419. Number 419, best of my recollection. Not because I'm a pervert, but I had roommates that helped me keep up with the numbers, and it was an ongoing thing. And I never thought I was going to get married. So I'm dealing with this incredible age gap. And now we have a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old, and I turned 58 years old March 16th. So literally in 2 weeks, I'll be 58.
Well,
And
it's a very similar story. Yeah.
Well, that's why I want your story, because your story's all over.
Yeah, it's
Everybody's
a very similar
about
story. So I was single and living in this apartment and just hanging out and really having a good time and enjoying my life. And if I wasn't spending time with my kids, I was alone in this apartment as far as anybody else knew and that kind of stuff. And I made a joke. Well, I'm sorry. I met my now wife. At the time I would have been 47, just about to be 48. My birthday's in May. And I was sitting in a little bar restaurant here at the bar, eating fish tacos and drinking a beer. And she introduced herself. She walked by. She goes, "Excuse me, are you Ace from the Ace and TJ show?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, My name's Amanda. I've listened to your show. I was here meeting a friend." And she was there to meet a friend of hers because she didn't live anywhere close to where I was. Where I live happened to be the in-between point for her and a friend to meet up. And they met at this little place because it was right off the interstate.
Okay.
Easy for both of them. And immediately I was taken with, oh my God, she is gorgeous. But clearly way too young for me. So she's not interested in me. It was nice, blah, blah, blah. So I ended up looking her up on the social media, looked her up on Instagram, and I was like, oh my God, she's super hot. And maybe the next week or so, I made a joke on the air. I said, "I'm about to be the hottest commodity among the divorcees in my neighborhood." It's like, it's on.
It's on.
And she sent me a message.
Beware.
Yeah, she sent me a message, and she was like, now that it's out there, she sent me a message. She goes, "You could do better than the divorcees in your neighborhood." And I was like, "Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it very much." And she said, you really could. On the next bed, I said, "I really do. I don't know, but I appreciate it." She finally goes, "I'm talking about me. I'm saying me. Would you like to go out?" And I was like, "Oh, I did not realize that. I never would in a million years would have thought she was attracted to me or hitting on me or anything like that." So turns out she had just gotten out of a long college boyfriend relationship. I believe it was about 6 years. They were engaged. She had called it off. Right at the last minute, she had called off their wedding. And it wasn't long after that she and I met. And one of the first things that I took her to was a station event. And she was 24. She was about to turn 25 in June. So it's a 24-year age difference. And I told her up front, I said, "Look, here's the thing." I told her up front, "We're going to have a good time. This will be fun. I do not want a relationship with anybody. If we make it through the summer, whatever, we're just going to have fun. No rules. You bail anytime you want. All good." And we went to an event, and TJ.
By the way, did you mean that, or were you saying that because you just didn't think you deserved what was on your plate?
Both. First off, I meant it. I had no interest in being in a relationship at all. Okay. And then I also thought, well, this is just way too much. Don't get caught up in thinking this is, anything real kind of deal. But we go to a station event, and TJ and his wife were there. And Amanda excused herself to go to the bathroom. And the moment she walked away, TJ's wife, who I've now, known, since 1993, turns to me and she goes, "David, how old is she?" And I said, "Jody, you don't really." I said, "She's about to be 25. She's 24. And I said, "Yes, she's 24. And I said, "Well, now I'm about to be, another year older as well." So it's, right. But when we left, they both said, "You look so happy."
Yeah.
And right after that, people started seeing us out, and we had a couple of events where we, made a big deal about the fact that everybody was she's going to be there for the first time. We do an event called Second Chance Prom. That was huge. We did like 1,200 people in this hotel ballroom for charity. And we, quote unquote, debuted her that night. People had heard about her for a long time. And from that point on, people just kept saying, "You seem happier than you've been in years. You seem, more lighthearted, and you're not as angry," and all that kind of good stuff. And so it just kind of took off.
You're not as angry.
Yeah, I'm not as angry. I have a bad habit of, I have a short fuse sometimes. And,
oh my God, you and I are exactly the same. I have a short fuse too. I go off and then it's over.
Exactly. And then I "Hey, everybody, whoever I upset, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. It's okay.
Same way.
I need to do that." And so, we made it through a summer. And at the end we got through a summer, at the end of September, it was like, well, this has been it was really fun and enjoyable. And then I couldn't imagine not having her around. Right. And so it just kind of took off from there. About a year later, we moved in together and got engaged in 2020 and married in 2021.
See, no, that's great. What I think we both ought to post is you ought to send a picture, because you obviously were there for the 25th birthday. And I have a cake, at the time, of course, owning a bar and being a hot mess. But I have a picture of my wife and I, because she was 24 and I was 48 when we started. And she turned 25. So I've got a picture with she and I and her 25th birthday cake. Same thing. We dated. Then all of a sudden we're like, let's just move in. She moved into my loft. I lived downtown. Same thing, together for about a year. And I waited to, and it's kind of cool because my birthday's coming up, but March 16th, it's all about me on the air. I don't know about you, but I was always into my birthdays and being a hot mess, birthday month, the whole bit. So I was doing a damn jewelry store endorsement for G. Geller and Son Jeweler, who I've endorsed for like 12 years. And I'm there and we're giving away a diamond to whichever couple wins. We got 20 couples there. So they bring out a birthday cake. Well, my wife is there and I'm like, hold the camera while I make my wish. And there's the cake for me. She would never have guessed that I would ask her to marry me, especially on my birthday.
Yeah.
So I had her family, my family, all her friends, everybody on one of those rock star buses in the alleyway behind the jewelry store. She didn't know it, but as I started doing my birthday wishes, she had her back to everyone. Literally 30 people poured in. Her aunt, her mom, her dad.
That's real
her
cool.
sisters. And then when I asked her, she thought I was joking. She turns around and sees everybody and knows I'm not joking. And that's how ours started. And the same thing, people look at you and I, and the only thing my in-laws, and I don't know about her, your in-laws, but they said, are you going to be okay spending the last 20 years by yourself? That's what they said to my wife. I imagine, and both our wives are named Amanda. Both of them are Amanda. Mine's Amanda too.
It's amazing. Again, another similarity. You mentioned the jewelry store. Before I asked her to marry me on February 15th, because I didn't want to do it on Valentine's Day because I thought that was kind of cheesy. So I did it the day after. But
which is funny. That's funny.
Yeah. And the week leading up on the air, we had been doing a bit we created a few years ago called the Anonymous Proposer. So I'll try to make this short, but we had a guy come in and record himself talking about his girlfriend. And we had a ring and the whole thing. And we played it all week on the air and said, if you think that's your boyfriend, call us. And if you're right, we'll tell you. And if you're wrong, we'll tell you on the radio. And they're always wrong. And it would be so sad. It's awesome radio, but it's also, you feel kind of bad for it. They'd call and be like, Dad, I know that's my boyfriend. And we put her on the air. How do you know that's him? Because he said he loves my blue dress and my boyfriend is my favorite dress. And I can't wait. I'm so excited. We would go, not your boyfriend. And then they start to cry or something. You're like, oh my God, it's brutal. But everybody thought I was setting this up because it had been several years. We've been together 3 years at that point. They thought I was setting it up to be the anonymous proposer and surprise everybody because on Friday we revealed the guy live on the air.
Right.
Well, when we revealed it wasn't me, people were so bummed. They were just like,
what the hell?
I can't believe you. And I said, I never said, what are you talking about? I never said it was going to be me. They were like, we knew it was. And we got this huge, almost kind of a backlash. Like, how could this not have been you? We all knew it was going to be you. And then we were going to New York for the weekend. We had a long weekend on the show and ended up, and she knew it was coming. That was the difference. She knew I was proposing. I had written a couple songs. I've been in a band for a long time. And so I wrote this song for her, but it wasn't finished. So I just had to give her I had the demo on my phone and I was like, hey, I want you to check this out and listen to this and see what you think. And it was written for her.
Right.
And eventually we finished it and made a video of it from our honeymoon. But at the time she was like, okay, 3.5 minutes into it, she knows what's coming next.
Right.
When she turned around, I was down on one knee and the whole thing. But yeah, her parents were, it was tense. Let's say the first time I went over there, her mom and I are both class of 86. We're the exact same age. We're only about a month apart.
What's up, bro?
There you go. And then I was a couple years older than her biological father, and I'm about 4 years older, I think, than her stepdad. And so when I met her mom and her stepdad was, very involved in her life. They're wonderful, wonderful people. I couldn't be more blessed with great in-laws. Her brother's fantastic, but it was very tense the first time. And I would say it was tense both ways because I remember driving up there, going to meet him. I said, hey, look, just so you know, I understand this situation because my daughter was 8 years younger than Amanda, 8 or 7 years younger. I have to do the math, but anyway. And yeah, that's right. And so driving up there, I said, look, I'm not average guy. I get it. I understand they're going to be a little cautious and all that. Totally understand that. I said, but I'm also a grown man. And if they give me any shit, I'm not going to take a lot of it. I'm just so you know.
Just so you know.
I'm-
They call me, hey, they call me short fuse ace. You know
Right.
this.
That's right.
Fuse.
I was like, I'm not in, I'm going to be very nice. And I get it. I know how it works, but I'm not going to take a lot of it. And it was awkward. And then finally, I think her stepdad goes, would you like a drink? I was like, yes, I would love a drink. I don't, why did we wait an hour to have this drink? I need to relax a little bit. And so we made it through that time. And then from then on, it's been, as it's gotten better and better and better, it's been fantastic. And then sadly, my daughter died 6 months before we were going to be married. My daughter was going to be the maid of honor. And that's one of those things that, man, they could not have been a greater support system for me. It was just phenomenal. And so they were incredible. And in a way that kind of brought everybody even tighter together as a family, because that was the first real experience like that we had shared. And so,
I want to remind people her name is Peyton, and you do Peyton's Promise. And anybody that follows the Ace and TJ show, I'm hoping a lot of our followers will. You're syndicated radio, and that's not an easy feat, and I congratulate you for that. But follow up on it, and a lot of people out there willing to give a little bit to charity. So check out Peyton's Promise.
Yeah,
and just
thank you very much. Yeah. So she and it was weird. My kids, because that's the difference. You didn't have kids. Mm-hmm. I had two, both in high school when I started dating Amanda. And I would lie to them and say things like, one night I went to a concert and I had asked my daughter, who was like my concert buddy. I was like, hey, I'm going to a concert. If you want to go, it's not really something you'd really normally be into, but if you'd like to go see him, she goes, who's the band? I said, Train. She's like, Train. She goes, I'm going to pass on that. And so I asked my son, who's not really a big concert person. He's like, I think I'm going to pass. And then they came up with like, so who'd you end up going to that concert with? I was like, I just went with somebody from work. Oh. And my daughter immediately, because we were,
who are you dating, Dad? Who are you dating? Who is it?
You can tell. Why don't you just tell me you went on a date? Just tell me you had a date. Who was she? I'm like, I don't want to get into it. And then when I finally told him, my son was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. And because he couldn't care less. And my daughter was a little more reserved, like, well, this is going to be interesting.
If I was your son, I would have driven to your house and high-fived you. Isn't it funny how when you date a younger woman, everybody high-fives you but her father. Even my father-in-law's friends were like, damn.
Yeah. So I'll give you one of the first dates we went on. This was probably right around her birthday that year. We went to a Charlotte Knights baseball game, and a lady comes down. And it really made me look good. We go to the ball game. We sit down. A lady comes down. Excuse me, are you Ace? Can we get a picture? I was like, absolutely. I'd be honored.
Of course.
As there are two ladies, their two husbands come down. The lady, Amanda, stands up. She goes, here, hand me your camera. I'll take the picture. Hand me your phone. I'll take the picture. And the lady goes, oh, and she turns to me and goes, oh, is that Peyton? And I went, no, that's my date. And the lady, she goes, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And the guy reaches behind her back and goes like, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, wait, no. And we all got this, there were people that would think I come across a little, definitely my personality younger, my father-in-law and I being 5 years apart. And, I have to color my hair. Otherwise I'm going to, I'm a little gray.
Yeah.
My father-in-law doesn't have a gray hair and the dude's 5 years older. I'm like, what in the heck, man? So he looks younger than me. And I'm like, damn. And I look pretty young. So, but I got a little bit of that. People online or on air were hitting me with the, how's your daughter? How's your daughter? And I'm like, okay, I can handle it. There's a lot of jealousy in it. And then there's a little bit of fun in it. And then there's some hate too for people. But I always said, and I don't know about you, you didn't do this the first time out, but the second time you obviously did. But I always said men age gracefully, women just not as gracefully, at least, and they'll tell you some women do, but I always said you got to have 10 years in between just so it evens out in the end, maybe 15 years. So I always preached that. I never thought I would marry somebody 22 years younger or be almost turning 58 with a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. Never.
Yeah, it's not something you think about at all, or you never even consider. But I always point out the fact that I've said this before I knew her. I pointed out the fact that from an emotional standpoint, like I'm still a 15-year-old. I like the same bands from when I was 16 and 15, and the same things make me laugh. I haven't matured at all. So she's actually more mature than I am.
Same
And
here.
that kind of levels the playing field a little bit, you know.
It does. I'm an 80s guy. I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but I mean, 1983 coming out, some of the best music. I think 50s and 80s best decades. I'm not a 90s fan. There's bands I like, but I don't
Sure.
dig most of it. You know, grunge killed my hair pants. I'm
Yeah.
like that.
And that's one of the things, shockingly, that Amanda and I first had in common, despite the age difference. We first bonded over 80s music. She's a huge 80s music fan.
Oh,
And that was even cooler because my daughter, despite the fact that she was, 17 at the time when they met, or 18 at the time when they met, is a huge 80s music fan. So that kind of fell in line together. And it just became, once everybody got to know each other on both their side and my side, it all became very easy. And really, it gelled super fast. And her family took my kids in right away, and they took to them and treated them as part of the family. And that was a huge thing. The point, and her brother and my daughter are the same age, just separated by 3 months, and they started hanging out a lot together with different friends and all that kind of stuff. So we really have become like this nice, really, great family. It's really a nice thing. And my mom loved Amanda, loved her. And my mom was super happy that my mom passed away from Alzheimer's a few months ago. Thank you.
So sorry. And that's a tough way to go too, brother. My heart goes out to you.
It's a brutal disease.
Hate it.
When we got engaged, my mom was so happy that she knew she had Alzheimer's and wasn't sure she could, and knew she was going to make it, but didn't know how it was going to be. Sure. But she was very happy that she made it through the whole thing, was able to be here for our party and all that kind of stuff when we got back. So it turned out to be really, really great. And Amanda and my mom, bonded quickly. And Amanda was just wonderful with understanding the scenario and taking care of her. And I couldn't have asked for anything better. They've all been fantastic.
Yeah, my mom is a little bit old school, and then my wife is, country club, comes from a very educated family. She's the only one currently not using her diploma because, she lives with me, and I had her quit her job like right before our honeymoon because they weren't going to let her off. I'm like, you don't need to work, okay? Yeah. But the rest of her sisters, just very educated, and it's just different. And you look at my mom. And, I lost my father in 2008, was on the radio when he passed. The whole got to walk out of the studio. I just lost my dad, who I was very close to. And my mother,
same thing.
Yeah, same thing. And my mother remarried her high school sweetheart. So it's a wonderful story, who she was engaged to. And she's only had sex with 2 men, and she married them both. So I'm like, well done, Mom. All right, wait, you're good. The Irish Catholic, you're good. But my wife and her, just my mother doesn't respect my wife's wishes. She's a little more, hey, we're going to do this. I don't want them eating this. I want to know where you're going with them. And she thinks Grammy can do whatever Grammy wants to do. And my brothers gave into it, but I'm like, my 2 brothers are 5 years and 3 years younger. And I'm like, y'all, your kids are in college or out of college. I got a 2 and a 5. Mom's not as slick as she was 18 years ago. Yeah. And she's not respecting. So there's a little grind there, but I got to say, my in-laws, the family I married into, it's everything I wanted. We had the same goals. He's helped me. He's guided me. He's an extremely smart guy. So I couldn't love them anymore. Yeah. And it's just awesome. The little sister did not like her big sister dumping the 6-year relationship and going for the older guy, with the ponytail that looks like he should work in a strip club. But she's now grown to love me. She's having a baby any day now. It's actually due on my birthday. And she was the only one that probably had an issue with me. But everybody else, the rest of the family, welcomed me. And it's just awesome that 2 guys like us have 2 women that are keeping us young. And I know that's what she's doing. And my wife's doing the same thing, chasing kids. My God. Yeah, I'm like,
yeah. So we've got one due June 17th. And that will have been 20 years between kids for me. So I'll have my daughter who passed away, like I mentioned, and my son will turn 21 in September, and then I'll have a newborn. And when my son turns 21, so that's a whole different experience. And there's a lot of new stuff out there that I know about, that I'm finding out about. They do things that, like, we're going on we're going on a baby moon tomorrow. I'm taking the day off Friday, and we're going on a baby moon. which I didn't know was a thing. I've also learned it's not a thing apparently to make fun of the baby moon because it's a very serious thing.
Don't do that.
I
Don't do that.
make fun of that. We have a bridal shower coming up in May, and I'm sorry, what do you call it? Baby shower coming up in May.
Baby shower.
I've
Yeah.
also learned don't make jokes about that. That's not.
Yeah.
My son goes, "What do we do?" He goes, "I've never been to a couple's baby shower. What do we do?" I said, "Dude, we don't do anything. It's not really for us." And she was like, "Do not tell people that it's not for it's for everybody. They've got it." And the people that are setting it up are really going over the top. We're having like,
Of course,
cigars, and there's
Yeah.
poker tables and all this kind of stuff to make sure everybody's entertained. I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm just making jokes." Like when I get uncomfortable with things, I just make jokes about them. Sorry about that.
Well, I love it because, and I assume you and Ace are slightly different in personality, but your personality is so just like mine. And it makes me feel good because we've done this craft called radio for so long. And I feel like we've done the exact same thing. When my producer told me about this, I was like, oh my God, and her name's Amanda too. And I got 22 years and you got 24. And I was like, this is fantastic because people still joke. People still, I get
Sure.
it. And my wife is now turning, I'm 58 in about a week and a half, and she's 35. And I'm like, here we are. And these kids are wonderful. And I wish my father, just like you wished your mother, could be around to see it, and your daughter, of course. And I just feel like that this is incredible. And the funny thing is, I got fixed. And that's what I want to ask you about, because I literally did not have protected sex. So it's a wonder why I only had one sexually transmitted disease in 1984, and I got through it. It was just penicillin and some pills. Had a little gonorrhea. That's all. Okay. Got it in college. It happened. So I get through that. I don't catch anything.
Can you get just a little gonorrhea?
Well, I got a whole heap. I got a whole heap.
I don't know how that works. I just say,
well, here's the deal. I didn't drink for 3 days. I almost died. I was dehydrated because I couldn't handle going urinating. And I was like, I don't want to drink. I can't handle number one. It feels like razor blades. I'm dying here. So I literally was like, okay. So I think I wore condoms like 10 times, but I was a master of I'm going to protect me here.
Yeah.
And then when my wife and I decided we're going to have kids, I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. I can't believe I'm literally trying to do this. Both times, God bless us, we got pregnant within 45 days. So I was very potent. Of course, it was a morning show bit to see if my swimmers swam. I had to go do that.
So did you have reversal?
No, that's funny. Cause see, I never had it fixed. I just was like living crazy. And you're like, okay, you had yourself fixed. You had to do a reversal. I got fixed literally after our second child was born.
Yeah. Well,
like
the first
3 years ago,
that was like the first thing when we figured out, like, okay, when my first marriage is not going to, we're unable to work this out. It's not going to work. We're going to get a divorce. Boom. Doc, Simon, let's get this taken care of. I do not want this to be an issue in my life. And so there was actually, because I told him, man, I don't want any more kids, blah, blah, blah. And we ended up going to see a therapist a couple of times to talk about it. And I seriously, and I realized, like, you know what, hang on a second. I'm putting, all these experiences that I have, who I am now, that's not really fair, because this needs to be a totally different scenario. And I realized, I'm excited about, I'm going to be 55 when this child is born. I'll be, 65 out there coaching the little league team or whatever. I can't wait. It's a super exciting thing. I did all that stuff with my first 2 kids. I was a very involved father. I love that stuff. But yeah, I had to go have the reversal. But I've told them, the minute that we have this child and the doctor says, oh, all good and healthy, so she needs to scoot over in that bed, because I'm going to hop in there and throw my legs up in those stirrups, and we're getting it done again. We got to get that knocked out, because 1 is the limit now.
I was going to say, are you going to give in to 2? Because that's what my wife and I, when we fell in love, I'm like, oh God, we're going to have kids, aren't we? And I'm just like you. My last child was born when I was 55, the first one at 52. And she wanted 2. We didn't want to do 3. So you're lucky that you're getting out with 1. I would have thought you'd get 2.
No, I made the agreement. If we do it, it's 1. And so I had the reversal, and the first test for the reversal, they go back and test, and it was negative. And the doctor said, look, he's older. It's going to take a little more time. Could take more time. I don't know. And then we went back for the second test, and it had been about 8 weeks. And he came back, he goes, yeah, not only is it working, you are
It's
working.
blowing.
The numbers are off the charts here. I was like, well, good, let's get to work. Let's knock this out.
That is so great. And I've seen pictures of her, and she looks a lot like my wife too. We both married extremely attractive women. We both married, I think, women that make us better. Cause I'm like you. I don't think I'm 15 because I want to drive. I think I am 25 and I've never left. I want you to join me at 25. I don't want you on a learner's permit. That's no, Ace, that doesn't work. But I think that we're very similar. And one thing I want to do, because you've given us this time, especially with everything you have going on, is I want you to let us know. I call it a cigarette break, but go ahead and be shameless. The time it takes to smoke a cigarette, which I don't think anybody does anymore, but maybe. Tell me about the Ace and TJ show. Where can we hear it? How can we find you?
So you can find it. We have our own app. It's called, just go to your app store, search for Ace and TJ. You can download our app, and there you can hear our show every morning from 6, or the show is from 6 to 9. Then from 9 to 10, we do something called the Share Funny podcast. It's a longer form piece. We don't play any music on our app because it costs way too much money to pay those music rights fees. So in the mothership market of Charlotte, as we call it, we're just heard on our app in the morning, and then our show's heard on stations around the country in different places, and all that information is on our app also. And then from there, it links to our YouTube page. You can watch our show every day, watch the Share Funny podcast, and see all the other different podcasts and things that we do. But if you're on YouTube, just search for Ace TJ TV and it'll come up, or Ace and TJ, and it'll all come up there. But it's easy to find.
And I would love to talk to you periodically, only because I kind of want to keep up with what you're doing, because we're both doing the same thing. Like you, I'm coaching baseball. I've just coached basketball. Soccer's my sport, and he only played one season of it, and Mom didn't like it because there's no bathrooms and you're always on a field. But the baseball, oh my God, there's concessions, a playground, and stands, and my wife loves it. The only other thing I'll tell you, there's a wagon, my neighbor down the street, and check this out, because I think you got the affordability. It's the Veer wagon, Veer. And if you look up Veer, VER, it is the ultimate wagon for kids, and you will have to have it.
All right, the Veer wagon. Trust me, if it's the ultimate anything for kids, my wife has already found it.
All right, there you go. Tell her to look at it, and if not, just ask for it. Somebody will get it for you as a gift.
Yeah, it's on a baby registry that I didn't even. The other day I had to ask. I said, "Hey, people keep asking me about the registry. Do we have one of those?" She was like, "Oh my God, yes, we have one." And we started looking. I was like, "Damn, you asked for some expensive stuff on this baby registry."
Oh, I know they do. They're like, "Hey, just go ahead and scan it. Somebody will buy it. Somebody will buy it." My family, my wife has rich relatives, so I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" I saw their house. I know where they live in Philadelphia, Boston. My God, yes. Yes.
Let somebody else ease that burden a little bit.
That's right. Well, this has been fantastic. Again, I've got Ace on, and if you don't mind, I'd like to refer to you too by your birth name, David Cannon.
Absolutely.
I'm Steve Rickman, but Southside Steve. Currently unemployed, but my agent, I'm in the middle of a non-compete right now until April 1st, and we're talking to stations. And I'm also looking at doing things. I think guys like us should write a book. I think guys like us, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a host. So I kind of looking at what I can do. And I have a bourbon whiskey now too.
Very
which is
nice.
one of our proud sponsors, Yeah, Come On, which is my trademark. And that's why we call it the Yeah, Come On Show. I trademarked it about 18 years ago. It's just something I used to say all the time. And I'm like, I need to trademark this. And
I love that. Can I get that online somewhere?
Yeah, you sure can.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right here. Matter of fact, I'll get with you on the address. I'll send you a bottle. See what you think. It's smooth. Smooth and smoky. And if you like Jack Daniels, which was my favorite, this pounds Jack Daniels. Matter of fact, Yeah, Come On and Coke is fabulous. Or drinking it straight up, which is what I'm doing. It's cool. Unbelievable.
Well, very congratulations. Cool. I hope it all works out well. I've been through that non-compete thing, and until it's all done, it's always dicey and kind of a concern. I'm sure it'll work out fine though.
It is, and I like what you've done and how hard you worked, and I really respect. Matter of fact, if you and TJ ever need a third, you call me.
Absolutely.
Charlotte's nice, but I can tell that you're a good person. There's not many good people in radio. There's a lot of people that are just, it's narcissistic, or they're like the lack of confidence, which causes problems in the studio. I've seen it all, and dysfunction is great on radio, but I'm like, at this point And same thing with your age. I'm like, man, I just want to do great radio without the drama. I'm done with that.
Yeah, I want to have a good time and then go home.
And go home. And matter of fact, I want to be friends with who I work with. I want them to know they can come over, maybe even go on a vacation together, and it's okay.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I've been very blessed with through the years is that TJ and I we were friends first. We lived in the same apartment together. We were both bachelors, so we knew each other before we met his wife. I started to say our first wives, but he's only got one, so that's better tread lightly when I say that.
Easy.
Yeah.
That's it. Well, you've been great. Again, I love the pictures. I'm happy for you. I can see how happy you are. And my heart goes out to you for your daughter and the loss of your mother. I'll never know what that kind of pain is. I think that everything happens for a reason. So I think this woman is in your life for a reason. And this son, and I'm very happy for you. I think you're going to have a big finish and everything comes back around in the end, doesn't it?
Well, I hope so. Thank you very much and continued success. Thanks for having me on. I've really enjoyed it. You've been great.
All right. Thank you, Ace. My pleasure, man. Yeah. Come on. Can I get a yeah? Come on, Ace.
Yeah. Come on.
Man, that was awesome. It was just awesome. I mean, that was like the coolest guest ever. You talk about a guy living my life in another state. I mean, the radio, the time period, the girl, other than he was married and had kids.
But so many similarities.
Yeah, a lot of similarities. It really, no doubt. And the fact he agreed to a kid. So he'll be 55. I was 55 when my second one was born. So right there with you, brother.
But hey, like you said, though, I mean, it's fun to be a dad and get to go out and do all the, like the coaching and whatnot. But like you said, he'll be back in the bed right next to Amanda once the baby's born going, all right, my turn.
My turn. Daddy. Yeah, it takes a while. It takes a while before you get the breast back. Yeah, because I'm not going for milk. I haven't done it.
No, I mean, I'm talking about his snip.
Oh, his snip. I thought you were talking about, like maybe going after the breast. Yeah, he's got to get snipped again. The doctor's going to be like, this time for keeps. I ain't reversing it again. This is show 160, the Yeah Come On Show, brought to you by joebees.com. That's right. Get your bee pollen, man. You want to be healthy? You want to have energy like me and my boy Ace did? Special thanks to Ace for coming on. Ace has got the energy. He has to at 55 with a newborn, and that's bee pollen. And I'm telling you, I take it over a multivitamin every morning, 2 capsules. David Markwell, markwelltherapy.com. I run into crazy people. No, that was horrible. I can't say that. I run into people that need to talk to somebody every day, Brett.
Well, I'm the crazy person you run into. You've already called me out on that.
There you go. You're crazy. Okay, fine. But there are people going through things. Life's not easy, and you need a calm person to walk you through it. And you need somebody to work with you if you're having, trouble in your relationship. I don't believe in divorce. You hear that, Amanda? Got to work through that crap. Ridgeline Counseling. That's the man, Dr. David Markwell. Circle 285. Look, insurance. Everybody's looking to save a buck wherever they can. Bundle the house and the car, all with a Type A company. I saved $750 a year when I switched. And I know somebody that switched and went in with the company, got the same insurance and saved $400 a year, which he wanted to stay with the same company. So go to circle285.com. Of course, Brett, hold up the bottle. Legends, yeah, come on, bourbon whiskey. Available in stores near you. Go to Spirits. I like that, Brett. USA.com. Go there. Find out where it's available. It's always available and coming at Legends or at my house if you know where I live. Oxygen Financial.
I was just saying it's more than that. I mean, I go get it at Total Wine.
That's true. We are at Total Wine in Alpharetta and Kennesaw. Thank you for that. Oxygen Financial, to Ted Jenkins, thank you for everything. We haven't been in your studios in a minute, but we're coming back right now. Our studio is Atlanta Motor Speedway, and they have given me a job for the week and the week before and during. I'm doing odd things. It's pretty much whatever they want me to do, and I'm getting paid. So I ain't asking questions. I'm like, what do you want me to do? I'll do it.
Have you done anything really weird yet that you can talk about, like maybe rip it up on the track or like try and take advantage of a situation?
Yeah, well, I got to drive the pace car around the track, and I acted like I was supposed to because they want me to do some painting. and that's legit. They want me to paint, and that always be painted white. So wherever there's like little marks, and they do other kinds of racing, or maybe somebody comes out there with a Sharpie to write their name. But he's like, right around the track, make sure there's no spots, and then go ahead and tag the spots that we need to hit outside of the start finish, which is serious business. The line, and I didn't realize once we paint that, and that's painted checker flag, right before the race, people can come out with a Sharpie and sign that. They let you do that. So if you've got an infield pass and you got a hot pass, or maybe you talk to somebody, you can go out there and sign that. That's cool. And even a cold pass will get you in there before race time to sign that. One of the weirdest things I know I'm going to do is I'm going to test the fencing. They want me, they said, we need to make sure it's all secure and it's a debris fence so that nobody in the front row gets hit. You know, if a car,
that's like the one like Tony Stewart used to climb up.
Yes.
Right
And let
there.
me tell you,
Oh my gosh.
it's serious, man. When you climb that thing, you can do it. At Atlanta Motor Speedway, people have climbed all the way up to the flag post. So that's no joke when you do that. But that's just some of what I'll be doing. But the cool thing, Atlanta Motor Speedway gave us a 4-pack, 2 Saturday tickets, and they gave us 2 tickets for Sunday for the
No, it's 4 for both. Yeah, we have 4 Friday,
serious?
4 Saturday, and 4 Sunday.
I'm mistaken. I did not know that. Maybe that's because I was taking 2, but I'll give them back. 4 tickets for Saturday, 4 for Sunday for the Am Health 400.
Ambetter.
And that's even
Ambetter
better.
Health.
Ambetter for Am Health. Boom. But get your tickets, man. Yeah, that's why they don't have me doing a whole lot of talking. They're like, go work. Go, just don't talk to anybody and go test the fence.
Sounds like they got you huffing too many paint fumes.
I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I ain't gonna kid you, man. That'll get you high. And you know, they're making me drive down there. It's an almost 2-hour drive. So 4 hours in the car a day to do this gig. So I'm a little punch drunk. Also, Legends isn't helping right now, but I feel good. What's up?
5 o'clock somewhere.
It is. So what we're going to do with the tickets, and we've asked to do this, and Brett and I see that there's a situation, and I guess we could have thought about it. Not everybody's like, hell yeah, but we want you to send us socials. You with a bottle of Yeah Come On, not in the liquor store where you haven't bought it yet, at your house, anywhere that you drink Legends, or in your backyard, or give us a nice pose or a picture. I've gotten 2 on direct message. One was with mason jars, and we'll post the picture, but she doesn't want her name posted with it because what she does for a living, she can't post anything with alcohol or marijuana. And I'm like, oh, so you can direct message me, Brett, or Evan Brando, whoever you know,
at the Yeah Come On show,
or the Yeah
Come On show.
Yeah, go to the Yeah Come On show, but I'll take it. I've had 2 sent to me, but I'll forward them to you. And we're just going to basically at random pick one. Anybody out there that's mentioning our socials, that's brownie points. I ain't gonna lie. That might go into us.
And I thought about this after we announced this. Like, I have, friends that listen to the show. I have one in particular who asked me, they're like, I'm not going to go buy that because I'm, 4 years sober. But I was like, I get that. But you like racing and you like listening to the show. So you know what? Hit us up, DM us, tag us in a post, say you want to go to the race. We'll get you in. I know you said you have 2. I think I've got about 15 or 20 sitting on my phone that I'm just like, okay, we'll wait till next week. We'll probably, this will drop Monday. So probably Thursday, Wednesday. We got to give them a few days heads up to get ready to go to the race. So I'm thinking Wednesday will probably be the cutoff. So that's the 15th, Wednesday, the 15th, payday. That's a good payday. You get an extra set of tickets, 4 packs, Saturday and Sunday.
And we're going to be super cool about picking it. We're not going to be douchey. We'll look, and we may just select it, but we may run into more tickets, but we want to hook you guys up as best we can. We might even send out a few Yeah Come On show T-shirts to 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. Either way, it's very affordable. Get your tickets at atlantamotorspeedway.com. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. No matter what, it's a hell of a weekend, and there's still parking places available if you want to hand out to the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Oh, man. Think about this. So you get to go to the race. Saturday? You and I will be out there. Evan, we'll all be out there. We're going to do a live show in the fan zone. So you can come hang out with us there. We're going to do some interviews with anybody that wants to come by, see what wild kind of stuff we can drop throughout the rest of the year. I think, Steve, we were talking about bringing back an old segment that was killed by the pandemic, but we think it's about time to resurrect. Maybe Spot on the Couch.
I love Spot on the Couch. I want to resurrect it. I want it back. We haven't done it. There is nothing better than after the Yeah Come On show, watch one of our quickie, either post interviews or interviews with different people that just want to be on the couch. But that is 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes of absolute uncomfortable entertainment. And when I say uncomfortable, because we creep out, mess with, dig up, we will do and basically the reason it's only 10 or 15 minutes because most people would walk off the couch by then anyway.
I'm usually amazed when people can get to 5 because they're telling us the dirtiest story of their life.
The couch will ruin marriages, ruin relationships, get people fired, ruin friendships for sure. And in this world we live in, who knows? You may be bounced off social media. We might. I don't know. A spot on the couch is, well, it's kind of what you think it is. And it's just as uncomfortable as somebody finding a spot on the couch.
But
so there you have
here's
it.
the other thing. So outside of that, so I think we're going to start broadcasting or, recording around like 11:30 that morning on Saturday. So if you guys want to be there for that, be there about 11. I think I'm probably going to be there around 10 for setup and everything. But Steve's going to be doing a hit at Lovejoy Package.
Yes, Lovejoy Package. I just love the name of that. Here's the deal. If you're standing at Atlanta Motor Speedway and your back is to the track, you looking out at the entrance, take a left, half a mile on the left is the closest liquor store, and it is Lovejoy Package. And they are going to be carrying an obscene amount of Yeah Come On bourbon whiskey. Legends is hooking them up. So I'm going to go in and I'll be doing a bottle signing there starting at 1:00. And I'll do a bottle signing at 1:00, done by 2. We will have our person out there doing taste test from 1 until 4:00 at Lovejoy Package on Saturday. That's Saturday, the 18th of March. So definitely come on in, get yourself a taste, buy a bottle. We know you're going there anyway, but this is our number one liquor store for Atlanta Motor Speedway, Lovejoy Package. I'm glad you mentioned that. And, I think back to times at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and I've got about 22 to 24 races of staying in the infield. I did the condo. I've done the bus with Star Coaches. And Star Coaches is my buddy Danny Hamilton that owns those. And right now, I think he owns 50 buses. And these are $1.5 to $2 million buses that rock stars use or anybody uses. Hell, Donald Trump uses one.
It's like rolling with Beyonce.
Pretty much. And the guy's got buses, but I've been on those buses and the things that have happened. But one story in particular for me is I was doing a broadcast for 96 Rock, and it was me and Tim Rhodes, and we were doing the Saturday night broadcast, which always got out of control. And I had been given a race jacket that I had, and it was an Ice House race jacket for the along the Miller Lite lines. And I had it sitting there, and I was like, okay, I've got this. This is cool. All of a sudden we look up, the jacket's missing. I'm like, on the radio. Now, not only am I on 96 Rock and people are listening to us in the campgrounds and the infields and in surrounding areas, but I'm also on a speaker system that can travel probably about 100 yards. It was loud. And I'm like, attention, people. Someone has stolen Southside Steve's Ice House jacket. Find it, bring it to me, and you will be rewarded handsomely with hot passes. We had some hot passes to give out. Man, I tell you what, the world was looking for this dude. Then during the time frame, we're raising hell and doing stuff, and people have been flashing us all night. One of the police women came up, and this is a lovely police officer. And as a joke, I don't think she was wearing her bulletproof vest, but she pulls up her shirt and flashes me from the squad car. And I'm like, yes, yes. Now, keep in mind, she's helping us. The police are even involved trying to find my jacket just to see, who stole it. Well, I go on the air. I'm like, all right, I just got flashed by an officer. That's great. I was such a moron. I know I should know better. And Tim Rhodes was all over it too. Well, there was only one female officer working that weekend, and they didn't have a hard time figuring out who that was. She got suspended for 2 weeks. I was like, oh,
hopefully with pay.
No. to this day. I didn't know that till about 4 or 5 years ago when I ran into her. And
Could have
that
made her a
was
topless intern.
coulda, coulda. We did have those. And I felt horrible. I mean, she's just having fun. God bless America. You know, we're just being silly. You know, people used to flash at concerts. It happened. I don't know if guys flashed their stuff to George Michael's. Maybe they did. I don't know, but girls did it. And I got her in trouble. Well, then the police weren't there at the time, but all of a sudden I see the Red Sea partying in the Atlanta Motor Speedway. People are like, yeah, we got it, Southside. All of a sudden, some guy, and he looked like he had been beat up a little, hair disheveled, little red mark on his cheek. They had his hands behind his back. Somebody had taken off their shoelaces and tied his hands together, and they found the dude with the jacket. I was like, okay, we've gone too far, too far. I got my jacket back. Why'd you take it? He goes, man, I just thought it was a giveaway, man. It was just sitting there. I didn't know. I'm cold. And I'm like, okay, he's half drunk. He's cold. And I'm like, oh my God. So I give the guy hot pass tickets, and I give the guy that stole the jacket cold pass tickets. I'm like, is everybody happy? The thief got cold passes. You got hot passes. Put your shoelace back on. You are now not allowed in the camp area. So we just said bye-bye. I said, wave bye-bye. And he walked away. Never saw him again, but they brought him in like a bad hostage situation.
Oh
True
my
story.
gosh.
True story. I have hundreds of witnesses. There's got to be somebody watch this podcast go, hell yeah, I was there. It happened just like you said. It was. So a lot happened in that 30 minutes.
So I'm curious about this just because I've never been to a race with you. I've been to races. I've been to AMS. I've been to Talladega, and I've done some of that stuff. And I have some bucket list ones that I would like to go to. Like Daytona would be really cool. Or
I've done Daytona. That's fun.
yeah, and then God, and I'm thinking, is it not Bristol? Bristol's not the short track, the one that's
It
like
is.
is it
It
Bristol?
is.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. That would be a really cool one to go check out. But
I would like to go to that too. I mean, that is a ton of bumping and racing. I
yeah,
mean, hell,
that's
if you're in
Rubbin's
the
racing.
lead, yeah,
You're
if you're in
right
the
behind
lead,
the person in last.
yes, it's that crazy. You're right. That track's nuts. That's where you just look at your car and go, she ain't gonna be dentless when this is over. There's
No,
no
it's the
way.
human centipede of racing. But as I can try and drop that joke on this show as many times as possible.
Well done. Well
I
done.
am-
For a movie I refuse to watch, but which means I'll watch it.
I couldn't even finish the movie, but I am curious about this. So I did have a friend warn me, and he told me that if you ever go to Atlanta Motor Speedway with Southside Steve, it's a whole different world. I was told that they call you Racetrack Jesus.
Yeah, they do. Basically, the Jesus of the infield is the name.
Okay, that's it. Jesus of the okay.
I walk on water there. It is by far, out of everything I've done in my career, which right now on socials, if you check it out, I'm talking about sitting in every seat at the Omni, being at the Metallica concert, because that was the time frame I was sitting in the seats and getting watched the show for free, and Metallica coming up and talking to me like, what are you doing, going from seat to seat to seat? And basically that was a cool thing, but nothing's cooler than Atlanta Motor Speedway. So when you walk with me, I get to take about 3 steps for somebody else, like Steve, and I'm being brought moonshine. I'm being brought apple pie. Somebody's got some meat. I go from campsite to campsite. I try to hit every damn campsite in the infield, and then I'll go to the outfield, which is outside of the track. And that's where real craziness comes in. You get down in that tent city, man. Oh, God,
that's where we're going. I'm taking you there, and I'm going to have you walk around, and I'm going to film it with you just walking up and tasting people's foods. What's the spread? What's the spread?
Spread everybody's always got some like corn on the cob that they've cooked. Somebody's got some cool vegetables, something they cooked on the grill. Everybody's got their meat, everything from deer meat to Wagyu. It's like, you don't know, just depends on, it's all in between. Or somebody's got the best damn ground beef burgers you've ever had, and you look at their hands like, God dang, you haven't washed your hands in like 2 weeks, and I see grease on your fingernails, but this burger tastes good. I'll say meat. Meat is the main source. Any kind of meat is the number one at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And you eat that meat and throw in a little bread, man, you can drink a lot. That's what keeps you sober. And it's just, you got to keep eating. And then somewhere when nobody's around, because you'll get called a wuss, you got to find a bottle of water and kill it. You've got to hydrate. I mean, I will hide a bottle of water. I'm like, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm not going to the bathroom. I'm going there to chug a water just so I don't have the biggest splitting headache of God knows the next day. But hydrate for sure too. But you'll see, it's intense. It's absolute craziness.
Well, if you want to avoid that hangover, I mean, always just go hit up some Yakima bourbon.
That's
No
exactly
hangover.
right. No hangover. And we're about to advertise that on some billboards. We run it through a quantum purity and we remove a lot of the nastiness in it, which gives you the rosy cheeks. It gives you the headaches and maybe even busted blood vessels. You just get a lot of the chemicals that are made. And that's why this thing, my wife, hold on one second. Yeah, honey, we're finishing up. What's going on?
Does she know she's on the show? Let her know she's on the show.
Okay. You're on the show, honey. Do you want to say anything to our listeners? We're closing right now.
It's not my thing.
Okay, well,
She could have just said, "Yeah, come on," or something. Come on.
You could either say, "Yeah, come on," or on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being you're into me like a freight train. What is our love right now?
You need to go up and take a shower.
Are you going to take it with me? You're not taking it with me?
Nope.
Are you going to come in there while I'm naked and stare at me?
Nope.
Okay. Well, that was sexy. Can I get a yeah, come on?
Yeah, come on.
All right, thank you, honey. Quit bothering me when I'm working, babe. That's the way I run. That's the way I run it. That's the way I run it. That's the way it gets.
That's
run
gonna
over
work
here.
really well after the Ace interview. People will be like, "Yeah, I'll tell her what to do. What's up?"
That's it.
She's
You
like,
heard it.
Come do this. All right, are you ready for a finish me off?
I am. By the way, I'm the same age as her Diddy. I might as well talk to her that way. What's up?
All right,
ahead.
Steve, here we go. Canadian judge rules giving the middle finger is a
Sin.
God-given right. Canadian judge rules giving the middle finger is a God-given right. This one right up the regular guy's alley, and you'll find out why. Tampa, Florida woman makes $300 an hour as a
Topless server.
Oh, so topless maid. She comes and cleans your house topless for $300.
Of course, it would have to be that. You can't be in public doing it. I just didn't think through it. Of course, it's in the privacy of your home. She's a maid. Makes all the sense in the world. That's hot.
Despite pharma claims, illicit drug shipments to U.S. aren't full of opioids. It's actually
full of vitamins.
Generic Viagra.
Oh, all right. Hey, man, times are hard. Times are hard.
And then talks are underway with state gambling regulators to legalize betting on
horses.
Dude, this one blew my mind.
Dogs.
No.
Weather patterns.
That would actually be really that was actually better than what the real answer is.
Crops on our crops.
That would be better than what the real answer is.
Oh God, betting on what would it be? God, it's not sports. It's not sports gambling.
It is sports related.
It is sports related.
You want a hint? I'll give you one.
Yeah.
I'll give you one, brother.
Brother, that reminds me of I know that's Hulk Hogan. So that would be on wrestling. Wrestling?
Yes, on WWE scripted wrestling matches.
Well, it's scripted.
So get this, and I actually wrote this one out. WWE is in talks with state gambling regulators to legalize betting on high-profile matches. They're working with EY, who is Ernst & Young, and PwC, PricewaterhouseCoopers. And here's their whole argument. This totally makes sense. That betting on the Academy Awards or the Oscars or the Emmys is allowed, where they already have the answers to who's going to win the stuff. So,
but there's 5 or 6 people that could win. With wrestling, there's only 2.
If they have a high level match, the script will only go to one of them and the 2 wrestlers. So people can bet on who will win the match. And
so nobody knows. All right. Well, I don't know if that's true. I know with the awards, I'm assuming nobody knows, just the Academy, they seal it. And you're right. Even the presenters have no idea. but maybe that does make sense that it's just the wrestlers know.
Yeah, but
You
here's
know?
the other thing. If I'm road dogging, making $100,000 a year, and I'm on the WWE and I'm traveling all the time, and I know I got Southside Steve going up against Larry Wax in the heavyweight title match in a few weeks, and this is a gambling situation, and Larry Wax is going to lose in a headlock situation by Southside, who's going to, then pin him. Well, I'm not making the $15 million you guys are making. If I happen to catch that, I'm definitely going to leak it and try and throw some money on it.
Of course you would. And I
Whereas
wouldn't mind
the
you.
Academy Awards or stuff like that, now those people are all movie stars making significant numbers of, amounts of money, but I don't think the movie stars actually know. It's more just nerd accountants.
No, and then you got the
actuaries or
wrestlers,
whatever.
and then you got the wrestlers calling up their friend Bill. Hey, Bill, I'm going to give you $2 million to bet on me because I'm going to win tonight, and I'll give you $200,000 for doing it. Okay, thank you, Bill. Bye.
Yeah, Bill's like, sweet, new
Bill's
double
like,
wide.
Good to be Bill. Good to be Bill. It is the Yeah Come On Show 160. As we head to Atlanta Motor Speedways, we give you the opportunity to win tickets from us. Yeah, it's 4 tickets on Saturday, 4 tickets on Sunday. All you got to do is send us a picture of your best legends. Yeah, come on picture. And again, for those of you that might be sober, okay, just send us a cool picture. All right, we're going to let everybody participate. There you have it. It is the Yeah Come On Show. I am Southside Steve, and that is one Brett Barney. Missing in action, one co-host, Evan Brando. Where is he? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like the way I did that. I thought that was a cool touch. Can I get a yeah, come on?
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, come on.